cost of living is very high. We cannot buy. When you buy today, tomorrow you come back and say the price will go up again.
As Nigerians continue to adjust to the new normal that has characterized the gradual easing of the nationwide COVID-19 lockdown, there are now concerns over the significant increase in the prices of food items. Rice and wheat crops that account for about a third of the world's calories have been making rapid climbs in markets. In Nigeria, for example, the cost of rice in retail markets soared by more than 30%. For countries that rely on imports, this is creating an added financial burden just as the pandemic shatters their economies. The impact of the measures aimed at reducing the spread of the coronavirus has hit the economy undoubtedly. Salaries are being slashed, and this has reduced the purchasing power of many drastically. The food supply chain has been disrupted, and some traders have blamed the price jump on the high cost of transportation and scarcity of some essential food items.
Irú àwọn ọjà tán rà ní bí 2,500 per kilo ní ìsó ti di bí 3,500, 4,000. Expensive àwọn onímọ́tò. Mọ́tò táwọn fi 1,000 ó ti di 1,500, 4,000 lórí taizin tó lórí ọjà yìí. Gbogbo nǹkan tá a dẹ̀ rà orí ẹ̀ la máa ṣí expenses yẹn sí. So fresh fish là ń rà. So gbogbo nǹkan yóò ti wọ́n. So bó dẹ̀ ṣe wọ́n yẹn gan kò move.
Farmers who grow perishable crops suffered the most during the initial lockdown, and this led to a surge in post-harvest losses. Many of these farmers are still struggling to recover from the huge losses incurred, and some of them could not even access credit facilities from central bank.
So since this pandemic, the sales of the fish is very, very low. Even we have a lot of mortality during the pandemic time, even till now. So when government, Lagos State said we should be coming to market to come and sell, we are very happy. But what we met here is not encouraging at all. Because no sales, since morning we are here now, no sales. Because people there are complaining that no money, no money, no money.
Post-harvest losses in Africa's most populous nation have been estimated to range between 5 and 20% for grains, 20% for fish, and as high as between 50 and 60% for tubers, fruits, and vegetables, according to experts. The interstate lockdown further compounded the problem, as traders spent longer time in transit of fresh produce from the north where these crops are grown to the south where they are majorly consumed. All these have contributed to the increase in food price. Since lockdowns have been eased, one would expect prices to return to normal, but that has not been the case. Perhaps there are more reasons than we know.
So the fundamental challenge that is being faced by the Nigerian agriculture sector is really around low levels of on-farm productivity, right? Yield. So if you look at the yield per hectare in Nigeria, the average yield per hectare in Nigeria, oftentimes it's as low as 20% of equivalent yields of other farmers in other developing regions. Right, and so fundamentally, those low yields create a scenario where we need to have where farmers, to compensate for the low volume of products that are coming off their farms, often requires significantly higher pricing. Also because of general supply constraints into the market.
Things increasing because of the number one, I would say because of the transportation number one, and from the farm also. They will have increased most of the things. They don't allow people to go out, come in, so they are just increasing that the little thing they have in their own mind to sell. So they will have to put their own money, and we don't have choice than to eat.
I'm begging the government to help us bring back down the cost of things in the market, even tomato. Everything is very costly now.
From tomatoes to potatoes and other staple food items in the country, prices are surging. A 50-kilogram bag of local rice, which was sold for 20,000 naira pre-COVID-19, now sells for 25,000 naira.
Formerly, when I started this business, I bought a bag of rice for 12,000 as at then. But now things are very, very expensive. Now, even now that we are dealing with our own local rice, it's supposed to be more cheaper, but it's even costly, even to the cost of the foreign rice.
A small basket of fresh tomatoes now sells for 3,500 naira as against 2,000 naira sold prior to the pandemic. A big basket of tomatoes now sells for 15,000 naira as against 8,000 naira. A 5-liter keg of vegetable oil sold for 2,000 naira before now sells for 3,500 naira. For spaghetti, a carton now sells for 4,500 naira as against 4,000 naira sold before. Inflation in Africa's biggest economy accelerated to 12.4% in May 2020 and 13.2% in August 2020, the highest in 2 years. And this has been largely influenced by food inflation, according to the data shown by the National Bureau of Statistics. So how exactly are Nigerians coping?
Look at this small chicken that we bought today. We bought it 2,000 naira. I'm not sure this chicken will last us for 2 days. Seriously, we urge the government to help us. Because seriously, the masses are really suffering. And it's not easy coming to the market to buy foodstuffs and stuff like that.
Cost of living is very high. We cannot buy, when you buy today, tomorrow you come back and say the price will go up again. Food allowance, they say rice, a cup of rice, now 1 derica rice, 500 naira, 450. Nigerian rice, 350 naira. I mean, a pint of gari, 900, 800 naira. With the cost of living, what do they call it? COVID-19 is outside. 1 day on a market, 1 day off. How can we cope? Please, let Nigerian people help us to look into this matter of cost of living. Is very high. I cannot go to provision. Poor masses now cannot take even milk in his house.
This probably feels off to you, and for a good reason. Supermarkets are no exception. Every time you go to a grocery store, the figure at the end of the receipt is usually bigger than the last time you were there. Let's take a look at the prices. A tin of peak milk now sells for 1,230 naira. Milo now sells for 1,050 naira. Golden Mon is now 735 naira. Kellogg's Cocoa Pops now sells for 1,000 naira.
It's not funny out there for everybody. Price of things has doubled. Work is no longer the same any longer. Income level has cut down drastically, yet we are still expected to survive. Job has been cut down and all of that. So it's not funny really, out there. And the prices are not reducing either. Nothing is being done about it, Even we ourselves are exploiting ourselves, in the name of COVID and all what have you out there. So yes, the price of things are not funny in the market, but somehow we just have to find a way, to survive and just move on.
Although the government has taken steps to soften the impact of COVID-19 on agricultural food chains. Take, for instance, the federal government distributed about 70,000 metric tons of grains from the Strategic Food Reserve across the country and reduced fertilizer price from 5,500 to 5,000 naira. The CBN has also increased intervention funding for the sector and reduced interest rates on existing intervention funding from 9% to 5%. But imagine what would happen if the state governments reassess their area of core competence in the agricultural value chain and promote investment in that area so that the burden doesn't rest only on the northern region.
The reality at the end of the day, what we want to create is that win-win situation. And I think if you look at some of the steps that the government is taking, most recently, if you look at the Central Bank of Nigeria, by adding maize to the list of items that's not available to use FX to import, they're effectively constricting the ability to import maize. Now, what that's going to create is it's going to create a scenario where farmers have an incredible confidence to go out and invest in growing more maize. And now I think the work that they're doing also is being complemented with ensuring that the farmers not only have the loans to grow that maize, but also have the knowledge, have access to the inputs. And I think with that combination, you're going to see a significant increase in the amount of the quality and quantity of maize produced in the market.
If prices continue to soar, it would have a devastating effect on poor households by making it difficult to afford basic food. As many as 265 million people around the world are suffering from food insecurity and possible starvation, intensified by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The World Food Programme is warned of widespread famines of biblical proportion, and its latest report is a stark reminder of the disconnect in our food supply. So how exactly have you been coping? Let's talk in the comment section below.